This is Jack Stoll of Jack Stoll Performance, and this is what I'm getting into today. Over the last few months, I've had this '06 S197 GT Mustang. It was brought to me just as a rolling shell, like basically an empty rolling shell with no drivetrain in it. They brought me this SN95 Cobra, like a modular 4-valve engine with this Kenny Bell blower on it. I had to convert the car to a cable throttle. I had to add a return line for the fuel system because it was a returnless system. I was given the radiator in a box, with the rest of the stuff, but had to put together a cooling system for it. So this is like an E30 expansion tank. I built the lower hose from some universal 1.5-inch hoses. Built this piece. Everything vents really nicely. This is to purge the air out. It does a very good job. Just block this off with a silicone cap. This is an inline thermostat here in the upper radiator hose. I mounted these Spall fans on here. I had to mount the power steering tank here, power steering reservoir. I made this little bracket down here that holds it up. The oil filter was going to end up in the subframe down there, so I built this mount bracket for a remote oil filter, put that there, and then built these brackets for the oil cooler. They had this transmission cooler already plumbed into their power steering lines, so we just kind of rolled with that and used this typical transmission mount setup with a little pad, these foam pads that go between the cooler and the radiator. So that should all be fine. It's not ideal, but it's good. It will work. Sort of basic setup. I'm trying to think of what else here. I mounted this big catch can here. It's like a 2-liter catch can with dash 12 lines. I made a big loop in this short line here so that the engine could rock and not wear the hose out or tug on it. Another one runs over here to the other valve cover. Just kind of a lot that went into the car. I had to come up with some plates, like make some plates to adapt the engine mounts to the side of the engine, because a 3-valve and a 4-valve have a different mount pattern a little bit. These are SN95 Cobra headers that did not fit this chassis at all, so they were just very cheap mild steel headers. I cut them up and rerouted some of the tubing, bought some tubing and made them fit this chassis, and that worked out pretty well. I built this intake tube. I built a transmission cross member for it and shortened the drive shaft. Also sort of balanced it on the car by welding weights on it, and that all worked out pretty well. It's very smooth and works nicely. I'm trying to think of what else. All of the larger power handling stuff. So I mounted the battery in the back of the car and then ran a 2-aught welding cable up to the front of the car through this bulkhead connector. The starter wire comes off. Actually, I think that's the upper one. The one that's going out to the side comes up here to the alternator under the intake manifold, and then one comes up here to the power distribution box. This is the starter relay here. I was unable to use the relay that's inside the box for the starter anymore because some of the wiring was missing from the car. This is the fan relay here. It's taking power from the fan fuse inside the power distribution box and running these 2 Spall fans that I mounted on here. I got rid of the ABS unit and converted a bunch of stuff to dash 3 fittings, even coming off the master cylinder. So I ran the rear line under the car to brake bias valve that's mounted inside the car, so it can easily be adjusted. It already had this handbrake in it with dual rear calipers that works pretty well. The car's still a mess. The customer's coming to pick it up tomorrow. They're going to clean it out and stuff. I just washed the outside of the car. I built a tube rear for it. So this bash bar I put these gussets in it to stiffen it up a little bit, but the bash bar is basically disposable, and then I put this big square tubing in here as sort of a you shall not pass zone. I built the battery mount box and put this bar across here. This is the fuel pump relay in the back of the car coming from a small distribution block that I put there. And then this wire comes up to the positive lead on the battery. So that's all real simple. There's the fuel pump fuse there. The fuel pump is just on the other side of the seat back over there. So it's a very short distance from the power supply to the consumer through a relay. So that's all real simple stuff. Worked out really well. I built most of the exhaust system and put an X pipe in it with stainless mandrel bends. This rear part here was with the car, and I have it tucked up as high as I possibly can, and it's still low there. If he's having trouble dragging the pipe on the ground, we may chop a couple inches out of this in order to raise that rear part of the exhaust there up a little bit. They're definitely going to take a couple weeks and tidy the car up a little bit before a drift event in Florida. There's like a big Mustang thing down there that we're all going to go to together. They're going to have the headlights and all that stuff, I believe, put in the car. There's a bunch of stuff that they kind of want to deal with. But I had a great time working on the car. They were really good customers. Just kind of let me do my thing and paid me when I sent bills. They were amazing to work with. Good guys, for sure. I hope they get many good years of use out of this car. Y'all take care.